यच्च मे हिरण्यञ्च मे यच्च मे शीशञ्च मे तपुच्च मे चामञ्च मे लोहञ्च न्याश्च यज्ञेन कल्पन्ताम् वित्तञ्च मे वित्तिश्च मे भूतञ्च मे भूतिश्च मे वसुश्च मे सोमश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे सविता च मे इन्द्रश्च मे सरस्वती च मे इन्द्रश्च मे पूषा च मे इन्द्रश्च मे बृहस्पतिः च मे इन्द्रश्च मे विष्णुश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे अश्विनौ च मे इन्द्रश्च मे मरुतश्च मे विश्वे च मे देवा मे रश्मिश्च मे दाभ्यश्च मे अधिपतिश्च मुपागुंशुश्च मे अन्तर्यामश्च मे इन्द्रवायवश्च मे मैत्ता वरुणश्च मे अश्विनश्च मे प्रतिप्रस्थानश्च मे शुक्रनरश्च मे ऋतुग्रहाश्च मे तिग्राख्याश्च मे इन्द्राग्नश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे मरुत्वदीयाश्च मे माहेन्द्रश्च मे आदित्यश्च मे सावित्रश्च मे सारस्वतश्च मे भौष्णश्च मे पातिपदश्च मे स्वरवश्च मे उपरवाश्च मे दिशवणे च मे द्रोणकलशश्च मे वायव्यानि च मे भूतभृच्च मे आदवनीयश्च मे आग्नेयेन्द्रञ्च मे हविर्धानञ्च मे गृहाश्च मे सदश्च मे पुरोडाशाश्च मे पचताश्च मे वभृतश्च मे स्वगाकारश्च मे अग्निश्च मे घर्मश्च मे अर्कश्च मे सूर्यश्च मे प्राणश्च मे स्वमेधश्च मे पृथिवी च मे दितिश्च मे दितिश्च मे द्यौश्च मे शक्वरीरङ्गुलयो दिशश्च मे यज्ञेन कल्पन्ताम् ऋक्ष मे साम च मे सोमश्च मे यजुश्च मे दीक्षा च मे तपश्च मे ऋतुश्च मे वतञ्च मे होरात्र मे त्र्यवी च मे दित्यवाच्च मे दित्यौहि च मे पञ्चाविश्च मे पञ्चावी च मे त्रिवत्सश्च मे त्रिवत्सा च मे तुर्यवाच्च मे तुर्यौहि च मे पष्ठवाच्च मे पष्ठौहि च मे भुक्षा च मे वशा च मे ऋषभश्च मे वेहच्च मे नड्वाञ्च मे धेनुश्च मे आयुर्यज्ञेन कल्पताम् प्राणो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् अपानो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् व्यानो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् चक्षुर्यज्ञेन कल्पताम् श्रोत्रम् यज्ञेन कल्पताम् मनो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् वाक् यज्ञेन कल्पताम् आत्मा यज्ञेन कल्पताम् यज्ञो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् एका च मे तिस्रश्च मे पञ्च च मे सप्त च मे नव च मे एकादश च मे त्रयोदश च मे पञ्चदश च मे सप्तदश च मे नवदश च मे एकविंशतिश्च मे त्रयोविंशतिश्च मे पञ्चविंशतिश्च मे सप्तविंशतिश्च मे नवविंशतिश्च मे एकत्रिंशच्च मे त्रयस्त्रिंशच्च मे चतुर्दशश्च मे अष्टौ च मे द्वादश च मे षोडश च मे विंशतिश्च मे त्रयोविंशतिश्च मे अष्टाविंशतिश्च मे द्वात्रिंशच्च मे षट्त्रिंशच्च मे चत्वारिंशच्च मे चतुश्चत्वारिंशत्
ओम साध्यादिशिष्टये ओम यज्ञोपवीतं सहजं पुरस्ताजं
पशुगुस्तागुश्चक्रे वायुव्यान आरण्याश्रये
ईश्वरेगुं सर्वभूतान् आन्त्वां 𝗕𝗏𝗏 दिव्यप्रणगन्धान्धार्यन्दागुं सजग्निरे तस्मात् यजुस्तस्मात् जायताम् आजिनेते परागिणे दूरचित्रं चिरयन्तमस्मै चित्रक्षत्र चित्रतमं वयोदां चन्द्रं प्रियं प्रवीरं बृहन्तं चन्द्रचन्द्राग्नते स्व हरिद्राचूर्णं समर्पयामि सक्तुमुतर पुनः पुनन्तो यत्र धीरामनसावाच वक्रता अत्रास्तका भद्रेशां लक्ष्मीनाथवाचे कुङ्कुमचूर्णं समर्पयामि सहस्रवृष्टि भगवान् श्री सत्यसाई बाबा पुष्पमालिकां समर्पयामि पूजा कर्मणं वाचा चिन्तयामि भगवत्पदं सत्यसायी सर्वेषां सद्भक्ता परिरक्षक प्रसीद मां कृपासिन्धो प्रसीद परमेश्वर प्रसीद मां आत्मबन्धो भक्तबन्धो दयानिधे अपराध सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते सततं त्वं यानि कानि प्राप्तानि नमस्कारं माड्ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ यानि कानि प्राप्तानि जन्मान्तरकृतानि च तानि तानि निश्चिन्ते प्रदक्षिण पदे पदे प्राप्तोऽहं प्राप्तकर्माणां प्राप्तात्मा प्राप्तं वा पाहि मां कृपया देवा शरणागतवत्सल अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं तस्मात् कारणभावं चक्षो साईश्वर नमस्कारां समर्पयामि नमस्कारां समर्पयामि साईनाथ नमस्कारां समर्पयामि.
And joined the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Vrindavan campus in the year 1997. From there on, he went on to complete his MBA in 2002. After his MBA, Brother Sudhindran was blessed to serve Bhagwan in the Finance and Accounts Department of Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. Brother Sudhindran is part of the Prashanti Vedam group, and he also was blessed with the great privilege of serving Bhagwan in Yajur Mandiram from 2008 till 2011. With this introduction, I invite Brother Sudhindran to share his experiences with us. A small request, I request all those present here to keep their mobiles in silent or vibrate mode. Thank you.
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम. गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु. गणेशाय नमः. सरस्वत्यै नमः. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तः प्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ. नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमः. Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most loving and prayerful pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. In a very beautiful Telugu Padyam, Swami captured the reason why avatars descend on earth. అవతరించటం ఎన్నుటలో అర్థమేమి, జనులపై ప్రీతి వాత్సల్య పరతతోడ, వారి స్థాయికి దైవంబు వచ్చు భువికి, జీవ ప్రజ్ఞతో బాటుగా దైవ ప్రజ్ఞ. Swami says, అవతరించుటలో అర్థమేమి, జనులపై ప్రీతి వాత్సల్య పరతతోడ, meaning to say, out of immense love and mercy on all the living beings, the divine takes on a human form and descends down on earth in a very beautiful and enigmatic blend of human consciousness and divine consciousness. Only avatar can define himself or herself. Today, as we celebrate Bhagwan's 97th birthday, we are so fortunate that we could be contemporaries of Bhagwan, and we were all blessed to have Bhagwan's darshan, sparshan and sambhashan. But for quite a few people, it is very difficult to understand as to what an avatar is, and as to why God has to take on a human form. There's a story that once King Akbar asked Birbal as to why should God take on a human form and come down to the earth as an avatar. He is so powerful, almighty. Can he not do whatever he wants, right from wherever he is in heaven or wherever? So this was the question that troubled Emperor Akbar's mind. And he asked this question to Birbal as if trying to question the very concept of avatarhood as to is it possible, is it true? And Birbal sought some time to explain this and give a reply to this question. And one day, the emperor decided to go on a leisure boat ride along with his family. And so he and his family, queen and prince, everybody, they were all sailing. And in another boat, there was Birbal. Suddenly, there was commotion and there was a big splash as if somebody had fallen into the water. And then Birbal screamed, "Oh my God, the prince has fallen into the water, save him." As soon as Akbar heard that, he immediately jumped into the water towards where there was a splash and as if somebody was drowning there. And when he went there and when he caught hold of his son, the prince, that's when he realized that he was duped, because it was a doll, a lookalike of his son and not his son actually. And Emperor Akbar was furious at this joke that was played on him. And he summoned Birbal and asked him why he did this. And then first Birbal apologized, and then he asked, "Emperor, you had so many soldiers at your command, waiting to every bid of yours that very second. Why did you not ask them to jump into the water and rescue the prince? Why did you, the emperor, have to do it yourself? You wet yourself and you caused so much trouble to yourself." He said, "Fool." The emperor said, "Fool, when my son is drowning, you think I'll wait for somebody to go and rescue him?" And that time Birbal immediately told Akbar, "Emperor, this is exactly the reason why God descends on earth. Because we are all His children. And when we are suffering, He cannot bear to see us suffering. And therefore, He Himself descends onto earth to rescue us." And the home and everybody understood the point the Birbal made. So this is a very interesting story and also very clearly brings to us the reason why Bhagwan chose to come amidst us. I was fortunate to come to Bhagwan's fold, in the year 1997 for my first year undergraduation. Until then, I did not know anything about Bhagwan, anything. And the first time I had gone to Puttaparthi for the entrance test. That's when I had gone to Parthi for the first time, and unfortunately, due to some kind of confusion, I had forgotten to take the hall ticket. And the very next day was the entrance exam. So my father and I, we were there, and when we inquired, somebody suggested that probably we could go and meet with the former registrar, Mr. Chakravarti there, who was then the secretary of the Central Trust, and request if he could put in a word so that I may be permitted to appear for the entrance exam. So we went to request Chakravarti Garu if I may be excused and I may be allowed to write the entrance exam the next day. And during that interaction, brief interaction, Chakravarti Garu asked me as to what I knew of Bhagwan. So I had just completed my 12th and I didn't know anything about Bhagwan, and I spoke my mind. So then when Chakravarti Garu asked me, what do you know about Bhagwan? I replied, sir, I know that Baba has undertaken a lot of social welfare activities and has provided education, medical relief, and constructed so many water supply projects. And then I didn't stop there. I posed another question, a counter question to him, asking him, he's done all this, he can be called a Mahatma, but why is he called Bhagwan? So that was my level of ignorance then. And then Chakravarti Garu smiled and he mentioned, not for nothing that millions of people throng at his feet from across the world and worship him as Bhagwan. You will soon realize as to why he is called Bhagwan. And those were indeed very prophetic words. And as I stepped into Bhagwan's college, I was like an empty notebook, a plain slate. And just like how Bhagwan would do the Aksharabhyasam, in that empty mind, that blank mind of mine, Bhagwan chose to write his story of love, of selfless divine love. So as I mentioned, I had very, very little knowledge and experience about Bhagwan and who Bhagwan was. The first experience that I had was during my second year of BCom in Vrindavan. That day, so some of us who were part of the maintenance and the audiovisual team of students, we were allowed to stand inside 𝗏 Vrindavan here in Whitefield during Bhagwan's darshan. And that day, I was also standing there in 𝗏, and we were all waiting for Bhagwan's darshan. And then the heavenly doors of 𝗏 Vrindavan opened, and Bhagwan very gracefully walked down the steps and then gracefully glided on the carpet from 𝗏 towards Sai Ramesh Hall. And we were all standing by the side having Bhagwan's darshan. And all of a sudden, Swami went towards the Tulsi Vrindavan next to the 𝗏 gates. He plucked a Tulsi leaf, turned around, looked at me and asked, "Do you want this?" So I was glad. By then though I didn't realize who Bhagwan was, there was some kind of a reverence in my heart for Bhagwan. And therefore, when Swami asked, do you want this tulsi leaf? I immediately rushed forward, knelt down, and opened my mouth, thinking Swami would put the tulsi leaf into my mouth. But then Swami asked me to show my hand, and as I stretched my palm towards Bhagwan, Swami then put the tulsi leaf on my palm. And even as he was doing that, I realized that there was something different. It didn't feel like tulsi leaf. And even as I was looking at Bhagwan, there was a very mischievous smile playing on his lips. And then when I looked on my palm, in the place of tulsi leaf, I saw a glittering gold coin. So I was fascinated, and this was the first time that I was actually witnessing a miracle of Bhagwan, and that too happening directly to me in front of my eyes. So I was so thrilled. Then Bhagwan smiled and mentioned that the coin had the year of my birth inscribed on it on one side. And then he gave me namaskar, and then he proceeded towards Saramesh Hall for bhajans. And even before he did that, he mentioned to me not to show the coin to anybody, and then he proceeded towards Ramesh Hall. So as soon as Swami went, I put the gold coin into my trouser pocket, and then later when bhajans were going on in Saramesh Hall, I went to a secluded corner of Trayi Vrindavan, made sure that nobody was around, took the gold coin from my pocket, and then started admiring it. And true to what Swami had mentioned, on one side there was year of my birth inscribed on it, and on the other side there was a portrait of a knight mounted on a horse, with the horse's forelegs in the air, something very close to the image of Kalki avatar that we often see. So after having admired the coin to my heart's content, I took a tissue paper, wrapped the coin very carefully in it, and put it back into my trouser pocket, and went and stood back in my place. And in a short while, Bhagwan took Arati and then came back into Trayi. Even as he was stepping inside Trayi compound, he looked at me very angrily. And I was puzzled because just a few minutes ago, Swami had blessed me with this beautiful gift of gold coin, and he was, it was all so much joy and such a beautiful feeling. But why was Swami suddenly so angry with me? I wondered. And then Swami came closer towards me and told me, "Hey, nenen cheppan neeku. Evariki chuppichindu cheppan kada. Kani nenu ichetapude andaru chusesaru." He said, "See, I told you not to show the coin to anybody. But even as I was giving the coin to you, all the teachers and students around, they have already had a look at the coin." And he said, "Give the coin back to me." So Swami's instructions had to be obeyed. So then I took the tissue paper, the gold coin wrapped in tissue paper from my pocket, opened up the tissue paper, and I was about to hand over the coin back to Swami. And that's when, to my horror, I realized that in the tissue paper, in place of that gold coin, was tulsi leaf, and the gold coin had disappeared. Imagine my plight. Swami is just right in front of me, stretching his hand, asking for the gold coin, and this tissue paper is just having tulsi leaf, and the gold coin is vanished. And I don't know what to do. I'm like completely puzzled, and I didn't know what to tell Swami, and I was looking at the tulsi leaf and looking at Swami, and like I didn't know what to say. And then Swami looked at me, asked me to put the tulsi leaf into my mouth, and then just walked towards 𝗧. I was still kneeling down and trying to come to terms as to what was happening around me. And then after Swami took a few steps, Swami turned around, looked at me and told, "Ayyo, papam, poor guy." So then he waved his hand and again materialized the very same gold coin, called me, gave it to me, again with a beautiful smile, and then told, "Keep it safely and don't show it to anyone." So saying, he gave me namaskar and then he walked into 𝗧. And till this day, even I hesitate to see the gold coin because we never know when it will again disappear. So, and after a few days, Swami asked me for the gold coin, blew on that 4 times, made it 4 times bigger, and gave it back to me, and with the same advice, keep it safely, don't show it to anyone. This beautiful experience drove home a very, very powerful message. Swami had taken a tulsi leaf, transformed that into a gold coin. It was there with me for some time. Then it went back to wherever it came from. And yet again, Swami materialized the very same gold coin and gave it to me. This happened in a matter of about 40-45 minutes on that day. When I was trying to understand what was the significance of this miracle, that's when I realized that Swami had demonstrated in front of me the verses from the Ganesha Atharva Shirsham. It says, "Sarvam jagadidam tvatto jayate, sarvam jagadidam tvattasthishthati, sarvam jagadidam 𝗬𝗟𝗟𝗔𝗍𝗔, sarvam jagadidam 𝗬𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗔." Everything in this universe has emanated from Bhagwan. Everything is sustained in him. And at the time of Pralaya, everything merges back into Bhagwan. And yet again, when the new cycle of creation begins, everything emanates forth from Bhagwan. Swami had demonstrated this very same cosmic truth in front of my eyes in such a very simple manner, and then proved that he was the embodiment of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, the creator, the sustainer and the destroyer. And this experience that Swami granted implanted the seed of faith in my heart. And that's when I began journey towards Swami. And after having planted the seeds of faith in my heart, Swami then watered it with copious amount of his sweet divine love. It was on the day of Yugadi in the year 1999 in Vrindavan. That day, morning there was program in Swami's presence. And then after the Swami took Aarti, Swami retired for the morning into 𝗧. And then it was during the holidays, and we all went back into the hostel. Excuse me. And in the afternoon, we were all getting ready to come for Bhagwan's darshan. And meanwhile, the Sevadal came running came to the room and told me, "Sairam, brother, Swami is calling you." So immediately I got ready and rushed towards 𝗧. And even as I was coming near the 𝗧 gate, I could see that the interview room door was open and Bhagavan was standing next to it. So then I rushed towards Bhagavan, and then Swami went and sat on his throne inside the interview room, and then I took namaskar, and then Swami looked at me for some time and told, "Ee-roju Yugadi kada, nenem ivalede neeku," saying, "This today is Yugadi, New Year's Day. I could not give you anything in the morning." So saying, Swami waved his hand and materialized a sweet called 𝗏𝗔𝗂𝗕𝗏. It was still warm and fresh, and the aroma was really heavenly. And then after he materialized this 𝗏𝗔𝗂𝗕 sweet, he, like a loving mother, slowly fed me that sweet with his divine hands. And at the end of it, he gave me some water from his tumbler. At the end of it all, very, very patiently, after doing all this, he looked at me and told, "Ippudu naaku triptiga undi." And I was in tears because there were thousands of people waiting outside for his darshan. And Swami chose to bless me with this golden opportunity. And why would he do that? Was I the Prime Minister? Or was I a business magnate with net worth of thousands of crores? Or was I a big yogi? Or who was I? Just a student in his college. But yet Swami chose to bless me with this beautiful experience of being pampered by the Divine Mother. And that's when I realized that day on Yugadi, after going back after a morning program, when I went to the hostel, my mind, just for a second, remembered as to how we would celebrate Yugadi at home, and probably for a second I was homesick and I missed being at home with my parents. And that passing, fleeting thought caught Swami's attention, and he granted me this beautiful experience and told me in a very, very beautiful way that what if you cannot be with your physical parents? You are in my presence, and I will shower you with the love of 1,000 mothers. And he did that. So this was a very, very beautiful experience of having tasted the sweet divine love. Talking about sweet and taste, Swami always used to remark, "Test is my taste." So just as a farmer, after having planted the seeds and poured water and looked after the crops, he also has to pull out the unwanted weeds from the field. So the divine farmer decided to do so when he wanted to take away the weeds of undesirable qualities within me. And so began my testing period during my MBA days. Until then, I was blessed with, when I was completing my UG third year undergraduation BCom, every day I would have the great blessing of being with Swami in Trayi and dining with him all the 3 times, and virtually spending the entire day in Swami's physical presence and being showered with that kind of wonderful divine love of Swami. But then when it was testing time, suddenly all that stopped. And then Swami wouldn't even look at me. He wouldn't even come near me. Forget even talking about giving letter to Swami or anything like that. And if at all he happened to come close to me, he would have a very stern face and scold me. And this went on for about 2 to 3 years. And I had completed my MBA by then. And when I was, and it is, some of the students, that time we used to, after having completed our course, used to stay back with Swami and seek his guidance as to what we should do next. And some of us who wanted to be with Swami and serve Swami would also wait and pray to Swami for an opportunity to be granted to serve him and his institutions at Prashant Nilayam. And so these group of boys who stayed back waiting for an opportunity to serve Bhagwan, they were called the waiting boys. And I was part of them. And after about 8 or 9 months of waiting, it was the day of Shankranti, that is, which also coincides with the prize distribution ceremony of the annual cultural and sports event at Prashant Nilayam. So that morning on Shankranti day, the prize distribution went on very well. And then in the afternoon, we were all waiting in the mandir for Bhagwan's darshan. And that time I was just thinking to myself, saying, I've completed my exams in March, and it is already Jan of the next year, and today is Shankranti, and in a few days Shivratri, and after that Swami would go off to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan it's very difficult to get Bhagwan's darshan, because in Prashant Nilayam, Swami would spend the time in the bhajan hall or outside where we could have his darshan, sparshan, sambhashan. But in Vrindavan, Swami would come, give darshan, attend bhajans, and then would go back in a matter of half an hour or 40 minutes. So I was thinking, okay, so then Swami would go to Vrindavan, and then so about 2-3 months gone, then Swami would come back again just before Guru Purnima. So that would translate about 4-5 months of waiting, and this was the thought that was going on in my mind. And that very second, the then registrar of the institute, Mr. Lakshmi Narasimham, he came running towards me from the interview room and told, "Hey, Swami is calling you." So immediately I followed him and went into the interview room. And inside the interview room, Bhagwan was seated on his throne, and all the elders, vice chancellor, secretary, all of them were seated around Swami. And then after I went inside, Swami looked at me and then told Chakravarti Garu, the then secretary of the Central Trust, he said, "Itani నాలుగేళ్లు బాగా టెస్ట్ చేశాను, పాస్ అయ్యాడు, నా మనసు కరిగింది, ఇతనికి సెంట్రల్ ట్రస్ట్ ఒక జాబ్ ఇవ్వు." Saying, for 4 years I tested this boy, he's passed the test. My heart has melted. Give him a job in the Central Trust now. So then immediately I took namaskar, and then Swami blessed me, and within a few days I joined the Central Trust in the Finance and Accounts department. But the most important point was, Swami mentioned that he had tested me for 4 years. But in my mind, I was thinking 2 years, because the first 2 years, Swami had blessed me with so much of his divine love and proximity. And the next 2 years, I was completely deprived of that. But then I realized that Swami mentioned, when he mentioned 4 years of testing, both the joy and the sorrow, the being in proximity, being away from his physical presence, all of it was part of the test. Because he was the very same Krishna who mentioned in Gita, "Sukhadukke same kritva labha labho jaya jayav." And he, in his letter to his brother 𝗕𝗵𝗷 Garu, had mentioned that Sukha Dukkhamuలు కూడా సమముగా భావించుచుండుటే bhakti naku. The quality of a devotee is to face both joy and sorrow with equanimity and with the feeling that both are the prasadam from Bhagwan. So this was the beautiful lesson that Bhagwan had taught me at his feet. So I'm getting close to the time, and in about 5 minutes I'll wrap this up. Narayana, okay, yeah. So this happened in the year in 2005, in the month of July. We were all chanting Vedam in Bhagwan's presence, and we were chanting the Narayana Upanishad. And that time Swami asked me to come forward, and he asked me to translate this Narayana Upanishad into English, sentence by sentence. And after that was completed, Swami then waved his hand and created a very beautiful golden necklace, exquisite, something that nobody, it's really not seen these days, that kind of very, very ornate necklace. He materialized this necklace and then mentioned that the power of the mantra Om Namo Narayanaya is there in this necklace. And then he asked me to translate it on the mic to everybody in Kulwant Hall. Swami said that people think that there is Purusha and Prakriti, but it's all one. It is just one God. And he also mentioned that this name of God, Om Narayanaya, this Om Namo Narayanaya, then this name of God is the essence of all the scriptures of all the religions in the world. This is what he mentioned. And then he asked me to show this necklace around. And then for some time I had the blessing of keeping that with me. And after the bhajans, because I knew that this was something extraordinary and not something that that I should be having, it was not for me. So then I went and gave it back to Swami, and Swami then sent it back to wherever it came from. But if you see, when Swami had, by materializing this necklace and by speaking out these words, he had demonstrated the very verses of this Narayana Upanishad. Because this Narayana Upanishad talks about the glory and the power of Sriman Narayana. And at the end it says, it also talks about the Om Namo Narayanaya, this mantra. And it says that this mantra, chanting this mantra is equal to chanting the entire Vedas. Sarva Veda Parayana Punyam Labhate. That's what it says. And then and when Swami mentioned that there is only one God, exactly the same thing is there in the Upanishad. Swami had literally, like how we have practical classes we have in school, so like that Swami had actually demonstrated this truth of these verses from the Narayana Upanishad. And that's why when Swami mentioned that the power, so when we chant the name of God, be it Narayana or Ishvara or any name of God, that is the essence of all the scriptures of the world. And that's why Swami always extols us to chant, exhorts us to chant his name, to Namasmarana and Sankirtana. So I would like to conclude with this one experience, yet a very powerful experience personally for me. It was just before one of the days in Vrindavan, before Swami came out to give afternoon darshan. Some of us were seated around Bhagwan in the Jhula room in Trai Vrindavan. Swami was speaking to a few elders there, and then suddenly Swami looked at me and asked me, "Will you give me whatever I ask for?" I told, "Yes, Swami, I will." Swami then, "Will you really give me whatever I ask for?" Swami asked again. I told, "Yes, Swami." And then Swami asked, "Will you give me your life?" Immediately, and when Swami told that, he stretched out his hand like that, "Will you give me your life?" And immediately I was about to take my palm and put it on Swami's palm, and Swami withdrew his hand, looked at me in my eyes and told, "Who are you to give your life to me? Your life is already in my hands." So, those powerful words of Bhagwan still ring in my ears. And this is not just for me. It is for each and every one of us here and across the world who believe and pray to Swami. Because he is Sai Baba, Sa Ai Baba, loving, divine mother and father. We are all his children. And therefore, we are all safe in his hands. And every moment, he is guiding us and guarding us, like how a mother would safeguard and love her dear baby. So with Bhagwan with us, and as Swami would say, "Intane, ventane, jantane, kantane unnanu." Swami is with us every moment at all the places, loving us and guarding us. So that being the case, is there anything that we need to worry about? No. All we need to do is to follow his teachings, do seva, do namasmarana, chant his name, chant the glorious Vedic mantras, and finally, and in essence, love all and serve all. So with these few words, I would like to thank all of you for this opportunity. I express my gratitude to Bhagwan for having given me this opportunity. Thank you. Sai Ram. Om Tat Sat.
Sai Ram. Thank you, Brother Sudhindran, for taking your, precious time and coming down all the way and sharing your beautiful experiences. I know it is not even started, then you have to end it here. They say that I was contemplating on this. All students get their experience, physical, had a lot of proximity with Bhagwan. We all get dream experiences with Bhagwan. I was taking one of the youth, she's there. And when I was taking her to the bhajan last week, to 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗧, she said, this afternoon I was reading a book, then I slept. Then Swami entered in my dream in the afternoon. This was last week. And she said, Swami turned the pages. I remember it, correct me if I'm wrong, what you said. And she said, I did not ask anything. She said herself, saying, Swami is motivating all the youths here to take forward this mission. Dream is not just a dream. He's going to give you a lot of experiences, also giving you a lot of tasks and responsibilities for you guys. So she said that Swami finally kissed the book and kept. I don't know, uncle, what is the message that Swami is trying to give? Am I right? Is that right message? So I don't know. Probably keep praying Swami. Swami would reveal or unveil a lot of things for you. Thanks for his. So I was wondering about how Bhagwan getting into dreams of this is a very deep subject. We can't just understand this. This is a divine, right? So we say Gunatrayatitah, as he said, Avasthatrayatitah, Dehatrayatitah, Kalatrayatitah, Tvam Mooladharasthitos Nityam. That Avasthatrayatitah, we have the conscious of three kinds. One is the physical, the mental, and the subtle, which is Karana Sharira. During the sleep, for Swami it is the same, right? For us it is three different. Swami can make an entry, modify our avasthas, that is the consciousness states, at any time. So that is so for him is the reality all the time. For us it is a dream and the physical state and maybe the deep sleep state. We have three different states, that's why we are human. So he has already transcended those states. So that was the answer I got from Swami Krishnananda. It is described in the Upanishad. So Swami also said to my wife saying that this dream is not dream. I think few months back, this is real. She is insisting, this is not dream, this is real. So whoever is getting dream, it is Swami actually entering or sharing his love and message of he wants to, as he said, we are all the journey together before, towards Bhagwan. And I think, thanks Sudhindran, I think we should listen to you more. Due to time constraint, we have to, give you only 45 minutes. We would like to listen more. I think you also driven chariot for Swami. I've seen this one, yeah. So definitely we look forward to have you here again, once again. Thanking everyone here, coming together and celebrating Bhagwan's birthday. Thanks to Manjunath. Let's have a big round of applause for Manjunath, Abhijit, Srilata, Rama, Shastriji, and so many others. Vijay Shri, all have made this today very very memorable day for all of us. Celebrating Bhagwan's birthday. So wonderful today it is. And I think let's proceed towards the cake cutting. Request Sudhindran to cut the cake behalf of all of us. One cake, and one cake will be cut by Srilata and...
Wait. Just one. One ನಿಮಿಷ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ.
To you, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday. Oh Lord, Sai Ram. Oh Lord, 𝗕𝗏. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday. सत्य धर्म की ज्योति सारे विश्व में जल रही है। तेरे प्रेम शांति की ज्योति हर घर में जल रही है। शुभ अवसर पर सारी जगत को जगमग जग कर दे। इस शुभ अवसर पर सारी जगत को जगमग जग कर दे। हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, हैप्पी बर्थडे, हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू, हैप्पी बर्थडे। तेरे जन्म होती है शुभ जन्म दिवस पर बाबा, मानव की सेवा होती है। हम सब भक्तों के जीवन में नया रंग भर दे। हम सब भक्तों के जीवन में नया रंग भर दे। सब मंत्र मुक्त बैठे हैं दर्शन को तेरे साई। अवतार है, अवतार है, अवतार है साई, अवतार है। अंतर मन में तुझको पाए ऐसा तू वर दे। अंतर मन में तुझको पाए Sai Ram. Swami Satya Sai Hare, Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka, Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka, 𝗪𝗛𝗏𝗧𝗏, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, 𝗪𝗛𝗏𝗧𝗏, Sarva Prayapati, Swami Sarva Prayapati, Ashita Kalpalatika, Ashita Kalpalatika, Apadranava, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, Mata Pita Guru Daiva, Mariyam Dayunive, Swami Mariyam Dayunive, Naradam Bhajaganatha, Naradam Bhajaganatha, Narendrashayana, Om Jai Jagadish Hare, Omkara Rupa Jai Shivam Sai Mahadeva, Satya Sai Mahadeva, Mangala Arati Anduko, Mangala Arati Anduko, Mangala Giridhari, Jai Jagadish Hare, Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva, Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva, Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samastalokaः sukhino bhavantu. Samastalokaः sukhino bhavantu. Samastalokaः sukhino bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। पुष्पं वेद पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति, चन्द्रमा वा अपां पुष्पं पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। अग्निर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। यो आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति। आपो वा अग्निरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति। य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति।
वायुर्वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो वायोरायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै वायोरायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति असौ वै तपन्नपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो मुष्यतपत आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वा अमुष्यतपत आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति चन्द्रमा वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यश्चन्द्रमस आयतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै चन्द्रमस आयतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति नक्षत्राणि वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यो नक्षत्राणामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै नक्षत्राणामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति पर्जन्यो वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यः पर्जन्यस्यायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै पर्जन्यस्यायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योपामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति संवत्सरो वा अपामायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति यः संवत्सरस्यायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति आपो वै संवत्सरस्यायतनम् आयतनवान् भवति य एवं वेद योऽप्सुनावं प्रतिष्ठितां वेद प्रत्येव तिष्ठति राजाधिराजाय प्रसह्य साहिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यम् कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिरस्य परमेश्वर प्रसीद मां आत्मबन्धो भक्तबन्धो दयानिधे अपराधः सहस्राणि क्रियन्ते सततं मया यानि सर्वाणि साईशा क्षम्यतां सकलदेवता स्वरूपा सत्यधर्म शांति प्रेम मूर्ति भगवतः भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा देवता नमः वेदोक्तं पुष्पाणि मनसाभिष्ट प्रार्थनां समर्पयामि। ओम ज्ञानी काल प्राप्तानि जन्मान्तर्य ददात्या नारि कानि सृष्टन्ते प्रदक्षिण परपरे प्राप्तोऽहं प्राप्तकर्माणां प्राप्तात्मा प्राप्तुं भवान् माहिमां कृपया देवा शरणागतवत्सला अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणमस्मात् कारणं चक्षु साईश्वर नमस्कारः समर्पयामि। साईराम
Thank you.
𝗧𝗹𝗻, please partake the 𝗕𝗵𝗔𝗕𝗥 here, served by Gayatri on the lady side and Arjun on the gent side. After that you can proceed and please collect the prasadam before you go.